today. The widower of Dame Barbara Windsor, Scott Mitchell, has revealed that he has found love again 3 years after her death. Scott confirms his relationship with EastEnders Rainey actress Tanya Franks. They first bonded whilst training for the London Marathon as part of Bab's Army, raising money for Alzheimer's. So it's lovely news, Nadia, isn't it?
Oh, it's we all know Scott well, don't we? And what a sweetheart he is, and how lovely he was with Barbara. And so I'm just so happy for him. And it's funny, isn't it? It's funny how people can get this big book of the rules of grief when somebody has lost somebody, about what you should and shouldn't do. I remember a friend of mine going through that, actually, and her husband had died in tragic circumstances, and sort of every single thing she did, somebody had something to say about it. It's like, oh, well, it's not... Oh, what, it's only this. Oh, it's only that. Oh, well, you can't have the same thing in the house that you had with him. And it was... I think people can be so harsh, and I just think if you get another chance at finding someone to love and to be loved back by, then that's a beautiful thing, is it not?
It is. It's just sensitive, isn't it? It's just really sensitive. There's so many people involved in it. I mean, there was something that was posted online, and this was, you know, a man who was saying that his terminally ill wife had pleaded with him not to marry again, not to bring another woman into their children's lives. They were only a young couple as well. I know, and, you know, the emotions are so heightened, aren't they? You can understand the woman saying that. I mean, the thought of another woman coming into your kid's life. Yeah. You can understand the guy being torn. It's so
We're becoming very judgmental, though, aren't we? I think with social media as well. Everybody has got something to say. You've got to walk a mile in everybody's shoes before you should really comment on something like that. I mean, obviously, on a personal level, we're thrilled for Scott. Yeah. You know, he did. He was a wonderful husband to Barbara, and I think she would be thrilled for him. I don't think... I would probably be one of those people who's so hypocritical. Because, in theory, I think that there's no... You know, if you lost somebody and then you moved on quite quickly, should you lose that chance of love just because other people might criticise? But then again, would I be happy if Lincoln moved on within a week of me popping me clogs? I'm not so sure.
But Nadia, you always say that you...
I always say to the girls, like, if I go before Daddy, just it would be great if he met somebody soon afterwards, because I don't want to think of him on his own. That's just like actually just makes me cry. Just thought of it. Sorry, I'm very emotional. I just can't bear the thought of him being on his own. But I suppose you have to take into account that's me in a way, still trying to control something beyond when I've gone. Because actually, whenever I say it, he gets really hurt by it. It's like, well, wouldn't you mind? And then the girls are like, oh, you can sort of see them thinking, well, yeah, that would be a bit of relief.
I mean, I'm 15
But then on the other hand, it would be strange for us, because then you've got a new woman in the house, you know, and that's a difficult thing to adjust to.
I'm 15 years older than Lincoln, so if nature takes its course, I should go first, and I hope I do, because if he did, I wouldn't be able to know where anything is. Do you know what I mean? I would just be... I stress about that a lot, because I just think, oh, my God, I don't know where the kick the bucket box is. I don't know how to deal with it. When my dad... when my mum died, which is about 12, 13 years ago, my dad was a ladies' man, should we say. Those of you who knew Dad knew he had a twinkle in his eye. And we would have been very happy for him to find somebody. And he had oh, bless him. He had a couple of dates. He had a couple of dates with people and everything. But what we did worry about, Dad always fancied what we would call a dolly bird.
A dolly bird.
You know,
sailing close to the wind there. Can we still say dolly bird?
Well, my dad said dolly bird. He liked a dolly bird. And they'd always have massive bazookas and, you know, all this kind of stuff.
Wow, that's two bazookas.
Welcome to the 1970s, folks.
I love you. And we did used to think, is Dad going to walk in with some sort of 30-year-old...
But what would have been the problem if he had?
No, it wouldn't have been a problem. It just would have been a bit cringe. We just would have always thought, oh, Dad, you're pathetic. You've always fancied that type of person, you know.
What would Mum say?
Well, I want everyone distraught when I've gone. I want them crying. I want them, oh, I can't face the fact that she's got no. No, I was thinking about the person we showed with the guy and, like, the person dying. Can you imagine that you really don't want to die?
Yeah.
And the love of your life's there and you're saying, don't ever leave me. Don't. I mean, it's a bit traumatic for the person listening to it, but the emotive and the emotion behind that person leaving as well.
Well, my mum used to say, when my mum was poorly and she knew that her days were numbered, she used to say, I want you all to have the most brilliant time at my celebration of life, but for 10 minutes at least, cry and wail and be absolutely desperately sad that I've gone, and then you can fill your boots.
Your mum sounds remarkable.
Yeah.
She really does.
She really
Wish I'd known your mum.
She was. She had a very, very warped sense of humour. And the song she chose for her cremation was Burn, Baby, Burn.
And when it actually happened?
That's so much.
How did the...
We said we have to honour it. So as the coffin went out and as the curtains closed, it went burn, baby, burn. And everybody went, and we said, Mum chose it, and they went, oh, burn, baby, burn.